Hello everyone, I'm writer coach Tony, and today I'm going to answer some of the questions that have been asked through my videos and through my email to my Facebook. The question that I'm going to answer now is how to find the appropriate title for my thesis or my research work. Okay, usually the titles of thesis or research works, if you look at them, there's a certain template to it. There's a verb, and then there are variables, there are nouns. No? So there's a verb and several nouns. So if you're forming your title, I would strongly suggest that you watch my other videos, especially the ones which talk about how to form your thesis topic. Because the idea when you form, for example, you already have the the different variables in your study. What I would suggest is first you look for an appropriate verb. No, usually I use investigate. Investigating blank 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 blank. Investigate, and investigate has several synonyms. You can use probe, probing; explore, exploring; scrutinize, scrutinizing. So that's one form of verb you can use, like investigating the relationship between, investigating blank 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 blank, examining blank 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 blank, probing blank 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 blank. Okay. Another verb I use is assess. Since many studies that my students do is they use quantitative data. So basically, you're assessing something. So you can use the word assessment of. So it can be the noun form, an investigation on, an assessment of. But in my case, I usually prefer the verb form because it's more, the appeal is stronger, assessing the, investigating the, determining the. So these are the verbs you can use. I usually use two. That's assessing and investigating. You can also use that if you want, if that's the type of study you're doing. Okay, so you already have the verb. The next thing is you have to have the nouns. So in the nouns, you have to identify the variables. So when I say variables, these are the things you are trying to measure. The technical definition of variable is it's an element or factor that is most likely to vary or change. So, for example, investigating the effect of IQ on academic success of students. So you have, in that title, you have the variable of IQ. Then you have the variable of academic success. So what changes there is the IQ. So is that correct? If you have a high IQ, what would most likely be your academic success? If you have a low IQ, what would be most likely your academic success? So you're using these variables to form your title. I doubt it though if your teacher will allow you to use one variable, because most universities right now usually ask for at least 3 variables. So in that case, you can use EQ. That's so maybe and maybe what else? Study time. The amount of study time you put into to the to your academic success. So your title can be an investigation of the effect of study time, IQ, and EQ on the academic success of students. So if you look at that, you have 3 variables trying to measure its effect on one independent variable. So that's what you can do. You have to look for variables which affect each other. For example, that's one example. IQ, EQ, amount of study time, effect on academic success. Another example could be, let's say, climate change. Let's say amount of trash thrown, pollution, let's say air pollution, then amount of trash. So those two alone are very, there's a lot of data you have to gather. And their effect on the, let's say, health of children. So you have variables. Again, investigating the effect of amount of rubbish thrown and level of air pollution on the health of children ages. So because when you say children, it's a broad range. So I suggest you just choose one segment, maybe on teenagers, or on PW, children with disabilities. The goal there is for you to be able to finish your study, because if you have a broad broad range of respondents, you might not be able to finish your study within the time frame given. Okay, so anyway, again, let's go back to the title. So you have a verb, which can be investigate, assess, scrutinize, probe, and then you connect that with nouns. Nouns, which are actually the variables you are measuring in the study. So I gave you two examples. The first example, I said investigating the effect of IQ, EQ, and amount of study time on the academic success of students. So that's one title. Another title is assessing the effect of amount of rubbish thrown and level of air pollution on the health of children with disabilities. So if you notice, I'm trying to measure the effect of several variables on another variable. So that alone, when a researcher reads your title, they would immediately know what you are trying to study. Okay, so try to make your title very clear and very provocative, because researchers all around the world go through a lot of studies. If they find a lousy title, then they may overlook your study. But if your study has a very catchy title, especially that your variables are something new to them, then most likely your study will be read by many future researchers, and that's always your goal. Okay, if you have any more questions, my numbers are right down there. Those are my Viber, my WhatsApp. You can email me, you can text me directly. I am Writer Coach Tony. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. There's a comment section. You can talk to me there. Or you can, again, talk to me in my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram. And please, please, please subscribe to my channel, Writer Coach Tony. If you have any other questions, you can ask me directly and I will answer it through this platform. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.